Okay, guys, I'm Brooke Birdsong. This is Jordan Taunton. This is Ashley Hankins. We have Johnny Mitchell and Sergio Lovelady. We are Team 6B, and our presentation is on Bitcoin. All right, for our agenda, first thing, we have to find the issue, establish decision criteria, collect and analyze data, identify and evaluate solutions, defend and implement decisions, evaluate, review, and revise, and our conclusion. All right, our issue: should the Federal Election Commission allow contributions to campaigns in the form of Bitcoins? Should this continue, and if so, under what conditions? We need to make Bitcoin a more sufficient payment method under which contributing to elections is more fair and traceable. All right, stakeholders are currently the Federal Elections Commission, campaigns, donors being political and individual, and voters. All right, our decision criteria starts with voter confidence, donations, transparency, and stability. And liquidity. All right, voter confidence. This is affected by basically all the other decision criteria, being accountability and traceability. People can't be confident in voting if they don't know how much donations are and where they're coming from. So once we resolve the other criteria, voters will be more confident. Donations, they are currently untraceable and there's no stable dollar amount, and the amount of Bitcoin is worth fluctuates through all different currencies. So we need to know who is donating and how much the donation is worth, and Jordan will take it from here.
Okay, one of our other criteria is the transparency of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin transactions are recorded in the public Bitcoin network. And as far as traceability goes, as transparency goes, Bitcoin is transparent in that you can see what public account a Bitcoin is being donated from and to, but you do not know who owns the account, so it is not transparent in that aspect. Also, the stability of Bitcoin, as was stated by Everett. Bitcoin has a history of fluctuating prices, and so the issue that this touches is, will we be able to put a consistent and accurate dollar amount to donations? And then liquidity, how easily can Bitcoin be sold and turned into US dollars? We need to be able to put an accurate, consistent dollar amount of donations. Okay, so as you know, the FEC currently has a couple of regulations on Bitcoin with donations. One being there's a $100 limit per donation, and the other, the Bitcoins must be sold and turned into US dollars before they're placed in a main campaign account. And also, Bitcoin has already begun to make its mark in campaign fundraising. For example, Andrew Hemingway, the Republican candidate for governor of Rhode Island. This is from his website. As you can see, there's a place where you can make donations through Bitcoin, and 20% of his campaign funds have been raised through Bitcoin. This is a 5-year performance of the value of Bitcoin, which touches moral instability. Over the last 5 years, the value has decreased 71%. The next one will be over a 3-year period. It has decreased 98.9%. And finally, in the past year, the value has decreased 93%.
So for our alternatives, there's 3 different ones. Our first one being to allow Bitcoin to be accepted as is. The issue with that is that there may be foreign donations that take place. Being with what Jordan said, people can open accounts, but they don't necessarily know who Also, there's low liquidity and stability in this due to the fluctuation of Bitcoin, as well as the regulations that are already in place, which is the $100 contribution limit, as well as it being turned into U.S. fund before being donated. Our second alternative is not allowing Bitcoins for campaign contributions. This will decrease the types of funding that can go towards campaign donations, as well as it'll help eliminate anxieties about traceability of contributions. Also, this will increase stability and liquidity if we don't allow Bitcoins to be used. But the third one is to allow the acceptance of Bitcoin with a regulatory system in place. This will boost overall voter and contributor confidence, which is a really big thing with campaigns, as well as increased stability, increased traceability, and it will help with letting contributions be made in the form of monetary contributions or be allowed just as in-kind contributions, or both. This is our decision matrix. These are our criteria. This is the weight that we weight each one from a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being not as important and 5 being very important. There are our alternatives and our decision once the regulatory system would be in place. Turn over to Johnny, who will talk about our recommendation.
All right, as Ashley just stated, our recommendation is to allow the regulatory system in place. And so I'm going to go over the positives, the negatives, the impact on stakeholders, and our edge concept. All right, so current positives based on our decision are voter confidence. Voter confidence is expected to increase along with trust from the general public. Donations are also expected to increase along with the regulation of Bitcoins, as well as transparency. So the contributors are known and the amounts can be tracked. All right, some negatives that are currently a part of our decision to regulate Bitcoins with the regulatory system are stability. Over time, though, with the regulation of Bitcoin, we expect for these negatives to increase. So we expect for Bitcoin to become more stable over time and also more liquid over time. So with the liquidity, we expect for the regulatory system in place to not fluctuate as much and give us a more stable view of what Bitcoin is worth. All right, so the impact on stakeholders. For the Federal Election Commission, they know that the campaign funds are being spent appropriately for political campaign funds. It's an innovative source of revenue, as Jordan talked about earlier. Hemingway, he's using Bitcoins in his campaign. And individual campaign donors, it diversifies the donors so they can either give in Bitcoins, they can give in cash, or they can give, like, I think they also can offer services as well. And then lastly, for Bitcoin, they will finally earn the public's trust, and their stock will definitely rocket. And so for the edge perspective, Bitcoin being allowed in federal elections does make ethics a general concern. Just traceability and accountability. Diversity is not a factor in the issue since foreign contributions are not allowed. Globalization, also not affected by current affairs. And environmental, positively affected by Bitcoin because it is a digital currency and there is no physical trash / footprint.
Okay, I'll be talking about the review process. Basically, how will we know how will we know if our regulatory system has worked for Bitcoin? When will we know, and how, when, and where? I think. But I'm going to go over how. The first way we know that our regulatory system is working is survey through censuses. So every year, the U.S. government has the American Community Survey, which is a survey that's taken by a small population, just about every state, on currencies, how people feel about them, how they work and stuff. So that would be a big perception on how we know if Bitcoin is being measured of how good it's working or not. Also through statistical data, which Jordan stated on his previous 5, 3, and 1 year charts showed the drastic change in value. Bitcoin also, I have a chart right here from Australia in the last 12 hours of every single company that involves exchange in Bitcoins, and as you can see, it fluctuates. The highest would be the Australian Bitcoin 18, or the independent reserves, who are at $97.27. The lowest is going to be right here to buy Bitcoin, which is at $85.47. So it's not too bad of a change, but it's drastically changing. This is the last 12 hours. So. And then also view comparison with or without Bitcoin. Like I was saying, the senator that used Bitcoin is obviously you can use Bitcoin and have a positive effect. So we think using Bitcoin would be better. For the next slide, does Bitcoin have a positive effect? Yes, obviously stated previously on the PowerPoints, Bitcoin doesn't have a positive effect. It's fairly new and the prices do fluctuate, but in the end we will show you that Bitcoin will have a positive effect. When will you know? There's trials. Bitcoin is not going to be, you're not going to find out tomorrow if Bitcoin is working. It's continuously fluctuating, so with trials, you need to get out there, get data, get to know surveys, just ask people what they think about Bitcoin themselves. And then we can continue to regulate our regulatory process so we can make Bitcoin as perfect as we can make it. Next, another thing, elections. You know, we have the next presidential election, 2016, so maybe Bitcoin can be a topic that is brought up that can also help us, give us a timetable when we know Bitcoin will be good. Also, in all three governments, which is county, state, and government, basically everybody needs to get to know Bitcoin, not just Americas, not just states, everyone. We want Bitcoin to be virtually everywhere. You know, small cities, big areas, small areas. And then it's like I said before, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen over time, maybe generations, maybe decades. We will not know. But what we want to do is we want effectiveness. We want good data that we can see, record, and then try to come up with a future plan on Bitcoin. What to do next? Based on results, yes or no? That's for you guys to know. We obviously stated yes. We like Bitcoin. We think it will have a positive future, and it's the new currency. Didn't make the right decision. Yes. Obviously, Bitcoin's been around for 4 years. They didn't think it was going to make it this long, but it's been around. So yes, we do continuing to fund Bitcoin because we've came this far. And if so, what to do the next steps? Just keep funding. Bitcoin does have a couple of websites you can donate on through PayPal, so you check those out. Conclusion. Our conclusion is basically through central regulation, Bitcoin can be controlled. It can be a currency. It can be the new big thing because it's digital. Everything is digital online. Checks are not valid anymore. Debit cards are now being used online. You have so many, everything's digital now. So through our central regulation, we believe that we can control Bitcoin's fluctuation. It's not going to be perfect, but at the end of the day, we're trying to make it the best currency we can. And we've done that through our decision matrix and our data that we've shown you today. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, you do that.
You do. You.
Alright, so I did get what y'all were saying. It made a lot of sense when I thought about it for a second.
Did you stop it? Stop it.